Hello and welcome to another video in my channel. So I know I haven't really posted in a long time, about 1.5 years. My job just took over, so I really couldn't have much time to post videos, and I am absolutely sorry for that. But today I'm going to share a live update with you. So here's my passport, and I'm going to show you that I have received my first Schengen visa. So as I record this video, I am sitting in a hotel in Prague, and in this video, we are going to talk about the whole journey of a Schengen visa application from a solo traveler's perspective. Okay, so back in the month of May, I was planning a trip to Central Europe, and I wanted to cover the places like Austria, Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, all of these. So I started my research, found out that the flights to Vienna are the cheapest, so I thought that I should apply through the Austrian embassy. Now, this being my first time, I thought I should get an agent involved so that they can take care of the whole process. But the agent I knew from my official travel, he clearly, denied, saying कि boss नहीं हो पाएगा because आप तो solo जा रहे हो और solo travelers का तो बहुत restriction होते हैं. I was a bit dejected, and then I found out another agent who at least agreed to help me with the documentation. Now, in the hindsight, if I think about it, you can do it all by yourself, because the documentation process and the whole process of the visa per se is very, very easy and self-explanatory. It is all there in the VFS website. Right. So with that, let's move to the documentation process and understand what are the important documentation in the whole visa application. Right now, one disclaimer is that I am talking about the process from a employed person's perspective. Right now, of course, if you are into business, the documentation differs a bit, so do find it out in the VFS website. But for all those who are employed, this video is meant for you specifically. So yeah, let's now go through the documentation form. So the first thing is, of course, the visa application form. So it's available in the VFS website. Now, most of the countries have an offline application form where you can just type and print it, or just do a handwritten application in the application form. I think France has an online application as a whole, but since we are going to talk about the Austria visa process, we will stick to the Austrian embassy requirements only, right? So in terms of employment, what is required? The first thing is your employment letter. So it should have your name, your designation, the start date of your employment, all these things, right? The other thing is your last 3 months payslip. So it has to be latest ones, of course, which shows the amount of salary that you get every month. Now, for Austria, it is 3 months. Some embassies might require 6 months. So while you are applying, do check the finer details of the requirements. Okay. The third thing is the income tax returns of the last 3 years. So this is again very important. It shows that you have a steady source of income, and you also file your taxes. Right now, some people may not have the IT returns. You may have started your job recently, or you may have taken a career break. So explain all those nicely in your application, right? The next thing is the bank statement of last 6 months. This is very, very important, and this would be the bank statement where your salary gets credited, right? So that the visa officer knows that at the end of every month you have a salary that is credited to your account, and you can use that to survive in a foreign country. Okay. Now, the next couple of things are the reservations. The first thing is your hotel reservation. That is very straightforward. Go to booking.com or Agoda and book a hotel or a hostel which has a free cancellation. So you can just show that reservation in your application. Now, the second thing is your flight reservation. So for flights, again, there are websites where you can go and reserve your flights for, I think, 20-25 USD, and that is valid for 14 days. So you can use that as your in your application. Now for me, I bought a full fare ticket from Kolkata to Vienna and back. Now, of course, I didn't want to take a risk with that, but the thing is that if you book your flight tickets in advance, at least like 2-3 months before, then you get a better fare, of course. So I booked Vienna, like I was saying, because it was the cheapest. I got it for 56,700, whereas for Prague or Krakow, it was coming to almost 75,000, right? So I stuck to Vienna in that case. Now, yeah, so that's about the flight part. Okay, now the other things that is also required is an itinerary. This is very, very important. I cannot stress enough how important it is. You should be at the top of your itinerary and should be very, very well versed with what is there day wise, and what are the places you are visiting, what are the major attractions of that place, all these things, mode of transport, everything, right? If you're also crossing borders of the countries, then you should also probably show how you are crossing the borders. It could be a train ticket, it could be a bus ticket. I would advise get a Flixbus ticket, because those are typically cancelable and they will give you a voucher if you are not going to use that ticket, and if you're going to use it later within 1 year. Okay. Now, the other thing is a travel insurance. Again, very, very important. It is mandatory to have a travel insurance in place if you want to travel within Europe. And okay, the other thing is your leave NOC. Again, very, very important document, right? And it must state from your employer that you are an employee with your organization starting XYZ date as XYZ designation, and the organization is aware of your travel plans between A to B date, and they do not have an objection about your travel. So this should be the content of the leave NOC. Okay. Now, the other thing is that is required is the additional documents. So here you typically can add documentation such as additional bank account, proof of additional funds. So for me, I added the statement of another savings account that I maintain, and also the statement of my stockbroking account. So that gives the visa officer confidence that I have enough funds to sponsor my travel. Okay. Now, coming to the most important document of the entire application, and I again cannot stress enough how important this is. That is your cover letter. So cover letter brings everything together, okay, and it can make or break your application. So in the cover letter, typically, again, what you need to provide is who you are, what is your passport number, what are your travel dates, why you were traveling, the list of documents you were attaching, all of that, right? So I will provide a link to the cover letter I prepared myself in the description of this video. So do check it. The mistake that people do is they copy paste their cover letters from multiple sources and then their visa gets rejected, right? So take utmost importance of your cover letter, and I would suggest write it yourself. Don't rely on anyone. Probably you can take inspiration, but try to make your own cover letter. So I will include the link as I mentioned, and I will also include a link of the sample itinerary that I use for my visa application. So again, don't copy paste it, prepare on your own, know the places you are going to. That will help in the long run. I'll tell you why in just a bit. Okay, so that's all about the documentation part. Now let's talk about the appointment. Once you're ready with all the documentation, you can go ahead and take an appointment from the VFS website. The appointment fee is about I think 1,780 rupees that VFS charges you, and the visa fee is 80 euros. So all in all, you can budget roughly 9,500 rupees for the whole visa charges, right? Now on the day of the application, you can select a time slot that suits you, and just be on time. The process is quite simple. First, the VFS person will check your documentation, whether everything is in order. So here they might return some of the documents to you. For example, the additional funds, you have to insist that you want to include that in the application, because that is what is making your application stronger, right? So insist that all the documents are included in the place. Okay. Now, so once the application is checked, you need to go ahead and pay the visa fees, the 80 euros, and then finally you have to, give the biometrics, right? So biometrics is again a little different for different countries. For some countries, they will click a picture in the room. For Austria, they would not click a picture. They will take the picture that you are going to submit, and that will be printed on your visa. So all you need to do is give your fingerprints on the biometric device, and you are done for the day. So the whole process on the appointment day is roughly about 3 to 4 hours. So take half a day's time out from your schedule, so that your other tasks are not hampered, right? So half a day is sufficient for your visa appointment day. Now, the wait begins, and trust me, I was not more tensed even during my board exam results, right? Of course, everyone has a dream that you are going to travel to Europe, see the places you have dreamt of for so long. All these things are in the back of your mind when the whole application process goes on, right? So but the sad part is that you can't do anything apart from waiting. The good part is VFS sends regular updates over email and SMS about your application. So when it is dispatched, you will get an email. When it reaches the embassy, you will get the email, like that. Okay. Now, for some embassies, not all, you might also get an interview call. Okay. For example, for Austria, I got a call. So here is why the knowledge of your itinerary and cover letter comes handy. If you know your itinerary, of course, you can answer all the questions with full confidence, right? So the lady called me, and she started asking me questions. Why are you going to Austria? Why Austria out of all places? I mean, can you imagine why Austria out of all places? I wanted to say that the flight ticket was the cheapest there, but of course I cannot say that. So you will have to make up some story, say that I love Austria, or whatever reasons come to your mind. Just prepare for it. I will include the list of questions again in the description, so that you can take a cue and prepare accordingly, right? So the conversation was about 10 minutes, where she kind of asked me about the places I wanted to visit, and she even asked me the major attractions of a particular place. So that was the amount of detail they went into. Okay. And after all that, she asked for my manager details. So again, keep your manager in loop about your travel plans and dates, so that if they receive an email or a call from the embassy, they are able to respond. So I informed my manager immediately, and she was happy to respond to the embassy. So she got the email the next day, and once she responded, the following day, I got an email that my application has visa application has been dispatched to the Kolkata VFS office. Okay. So that's about the whole process. I applied my visa on the 13th of July, and the visa was approved on 28th of July, and I got it in hand on the 1st of August. So roughly this was the 2 weeks journey, right? Now, busting the myth. As I said in the starting of the video, that it's a myth that if you are traveling solo, your visa is going to get rejected. There's a high chance of it getting rejected, but I would say that's not true. If you are preparing your application diligently with utmost care, if you are writing a good cover letter, if you are completely confident about your itinerary, what it looks like, where you are going day wise, what are the places you are going to cover, how you are going to go from place A to B, then it is absolutely fine. And just try to make your application as strong as possible. Include your additional funds. The common question that people have in mind is, how much fund do I need to maintain? There is no such requirement, I will tell you, right? Because there's an amount for certain countries. They call it the subsistence amount. So roughly 100 euros a day, I think. But for Austria, there is no specific requirement of fund that you need to maintain your account, but of course a good fund would always help. So do show your additional funds, and prepare the documentation to the most amount of perfection possible. And yes, there you go, that's all. And I hope that with all this gyan, you are now better equipped to prepare your visa application. And I hope that you have a successful visa application and get to travel to Europe very soon. With that, I will conclude this video here and see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.